Hey Blairsville, we are live here at the Chamber of Commerce, and I am joined by Sharon Davis this morning for our Monday Member Moment. We're doing our Member Moment a little bit differently this week. We're doing it live, and so I'm going to rely on you guys. Once you start to log in and notice that we're talking, would you just help us? We are working on our sound. We know that our audio is a bit of a challenge, and we've got microphones coming that are going to suit us better during this masked up time. But I do need to know if you can hear me today. So if you can comment or give us a thumbs up, that would be awesome. Now, like I said, I'm here today with Sharon Davis. She actually has a Georgia and a North Carolina real estate license. And so she works at both Grits and Tackle Realty in Georgia, and then she also works at Appalachian
Mountain and Lake
Properties. And I'm going to have to fix this little mask. So y'all are going to just enjoy our live shenanigans because we're going to shenanigan this morning. Yeah, her glasses fog up and my mask falls off. So. But we're really glad y'all could join us, and I hope you're hopping on and tuning in with us. Sharon, you are in one of the hottest careers right now in the area.
It's crazy.
Tell us a little bit about what you've been experiencing.
Well, since May, it has been crazy. Up here, we have very little properties on the market. It's a selling time, and a lot of people ready to buy. So people can work from home now, and so they're moving up from wherever they've always thought about moving up from, whether it be Atlanta or Florida or the area. They're saying, I can work from home now. Might as well work from home where it's beautiful. So they're moving this way and buying properties, and we just need properties now to sell because there's nothing on the market very much, and they're going like hotcakes.
So a couple of things, interestingly, we monitor what is searched on our website. One of the fascinating things that is one of our top rated searches is well drilling. And it's because people are building, and they're looking for somebody to do their well.
Right.
Which is just a unique thing, but that's what's going on here. And it's exciting for our area because we're having professionals move here now, that they can work professionally but remotely.
Right.
So that's...
And a lot of the lots are being sold now, because you mentioned people are building. And since we don't have a huge inventory, now people that are selling lots in the different subdivisions in 1300 and any of those types of subdivisions, they're also now going quickly because there are no properties available. So.
What is land pricing like in comparison to housing? We know housing prices have gone up. Is that right?
And the land prices are, starting to inch up a little bit more. And the challenge there tends to be getting a builder because they're now a year and a half out scheduled because there's so many people that are wanting to build also. So if you've got time, then that would be the way to go. But a lot of people don't want to bother with messing with waiting the time period to get it built and everything. But it's both ways. But the pricing is going a little bit up with the lots also. But there are plenty of those that are out there.
That are out there still. So if you are selling your house and you're wanting now, if you're selling, now is the time when you can get more than ever.
Exactly.
As far as cash price.
Right.
What do you do? Give us some realistic tips. Tell us, what do we do to sell? What do I do outside of my home? Curb appeal is always, they talk about that.
Right.
You see these magic makeovers online.
Exactly.
What do you do where you get the most bang for your buck? Because it can be very expensive, actually. I bought some shrubs this past spring, and it was like, I was shocked. It was going to cost me like $500 to put 6 things in front of my house.
Yeah.
Just basic, small.
It can get expensive. But if you're ready to sell, which, as we've already said, now is the time to do it because it is absolutely crazy. The first thing people see is when they drive up, they see your exterior of your house. So, you want to clean up your yard, mow the yard. You can get a pressure washer, that doesn't cost a whole lot. And pressure wash the outside, clean your gutters. Think of yourself as a buyer. If you were walking up wanting to buy this house, what would you see? I've taken buyers out several times, and they've said things like, well, gee, the least they could do was clean the gutters, or the least they could do would be to, pressure wash the house. And that just gives it a whole new light when you pressure wash it and clean those gutters. So do a little bit outside. If you want to put money into putting shrubs out, you can, but at least just get it nice and clean and mow the grass grass, or a lot of people up here, we don't have grass, but just get the area nice and sparkly new looking.
Things people don't think about, Sharon. For example, when I had toddlers, I had a lot of exterior ornamentation in the form of primary colors, slides, kiddie pools, things like that. What do you say about that? When you walk into a yard and you see that, do people understand, or is it better just to put those things away?
If you can, if at all possible, it is better to store them somewhere, because you want it as least personal for you as possible, because we want the buyers to come in and imagine their things in the yard and imagine what it would look like if they lived there. Sometimes some people have a hard time imagining what it would look like. So if the things are removed, then it makes it a whole lot easier for them.
Well, and that makes me think a little bit about, I have a question about the front door. A lot of times you'll see that be sort of that big pop of color. What are your thoughts on color on the exterior? Would you recommend repainting? Would you say just paint the door, paint the trim, don't paint anything? What would you say?
Well, of course, it would depend on the condition of the outside. If it is a wildly different color, then I would say definitely paint it. That's an easy way to freshen it up. The door color, the pop of color is sometimes really good. That may draw people in. But for the exterior, usually what it's painted is fine. It's the interior where you really want to get those neutral colors.
Let me tell you a funny story. This is back years ago. My husband and I were helping friends. They just bought, this is back when we were just starting out in marriage. And we had these very dear friends, and they bought their first home. And it was a beautiful home, beautiful subdivision. And the door was like a robin's egg blue. It was even brighter than that. It was a really, really bright blue. And so we're carrying stuff in, and my husband, who is a man of few words, said, "Y'all, this house is great. You're going to love it, and it won't be anything to repaint the door." and of course, he never says anything, but he got himself in so much trouble. She was the girl that bought the house. She was like, "That's my favorite thing about it. It's what made me love the house." So anyway, we obviously don't have a blue door, but our friends do have a blue door. Is there a popular color though?
Red actually seems to be popular, depending on if you've got the cottage style.
Yeah.
I've seen several red doors, and the teal blue color every once in a while seems to pop out. Those, as far as colored doors, with the cabins, we don't see a lot. We see sometimes the screen doors that have the nice carvings of the bears and so forth. So the cabins tend to be a little bit different, but when you're looking at residential type homes, then you'll get the red doors or the blue doors, and that'd be really nice.
Okay. So let's go inside now. We just walked my mom through selling her house, and then she's moved into a home that's going to be suitable for her for retirement. She needs one level, and the biggest challenge for Nana was when she was selling, she just has so many things that she's accumulated throughout the years, and we kept having to say to her, "Mom, not everyone wants to see 15 pictures of your grandkids or your entire teapot collection."
Right.
So tell us a little bit about what do we need to put away?
Well, you want to put away as much as possible. Decluttering is one of the easiest, cheapest ways that you can make your house presentable. You want to see as much room as possible, because whether we think of it or not, because we're living there, we like it and so forth, but it takes up a lot of room, and it's personalized. Like you mentioned the pictures of our grandchildren. People, again, want to know what it's going to look like when they move in. And when they're seeing pictures of your family, they're either distracted, or they're not going to be able to understand or imagine what it looks like with their things on the wall. So if you can take those down, that would be a lot better, less personal, and more space.
Okay. So if you're just joining us, I am here, Sarah with the Chamber of Commerce, and I'm here with Sharon Davis. We're just talking about real estate right now. She is one of our members, and so this is a Member Moment Live. And she's just given us some insight into what do you need to do to sell your house. Now, you may have questions. Mandy, do we have some people that are viewing?
We do. We haven't had any questions quite yet.
Okay, if you've got questions, feel free to just write them in the comments. Mandy is manning the camera, and she will let us know what you're asking, and then Sharon will give it her best shot at answering. We're trying to talk real loud. I want you to know we are working on our audio, and we're getting new mics very soon so that we can give you a better sound quality. So for now, we're just going to holler at you as best we can. But we're talking about the inside of the house now, things that we can address inside, and Sharon is saying put things away that you don't need out. So pictures of the grandkids, your Cocker Spaniel collection, I had a ladybug collection when my husband and I first got married, and it didn't occur to me that was actually not really that cute. It's like the sunflower's face that people make sure. Right.
Somebody else buying it, no, we'll.
They don't necessarily want to see every form of ladybug on a shelf.
So declutter is a big thing, and it doesn't cost you anything.
It doesn't. And talking about decluttering, one way that we can declutter but still function is containerizing things.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, if you can take things and, put them, get some boxes, containers, whatever. If you have a garage space, then that would be the perfect place to just pack things away, and then just put it in the back of the garage and stack it up neatly there. And that way it's out of the way, it's still there for you to access if you want it. But people that are viewing the house don't see it. I will say that the best, or the houses that show the most are actually the ones that are empty. So, if that is ever possible for you to move or wherever you're going, it depends on the situation, but that's the best. But if not, if you are still living there, then do take those things, put it in boxes, the plastic containers, put it in the back of the garage or in the attic or somewhere where, we're not going to think and trip over it type of thing. But that's going to be the best way to make your house look more spacious, and make it not quite as personal so that others can see what it might look like if they were living there.
What about color on the wall? If you've got the Georgia Bulldog bedroom with black on the bottom and red on top and a stripe down the middle, get rid of it, leave it, what do we do?
Paint it.
Paint
Please
it, okay.
paint it. We want the inside to be consistent. If you can all get it painted a neutral color. I've gone into houses where the walls are blue or pink, or there's some type of, I'm trying to, more than my teacher voice. But I'm trying, if you are going in a house and it looks neat, if you're living there, it's your personality, but when you're trying to sell it, whoever is moving in wants to see as much wall space and spaciousness as they can, and if you paint it a beige or a white or some very neutral color all the way throughout, then your house is going to stand out and it's going to look nice and clean and crisp for whomever is buying.
Right. Now, let me ask you a question. What about kitchen renovations? What about bathroom? If you have laminate countertop, and it's, circa 1985, do you take that out, replace it with a neutral granite? Do you leave it? What's the win versus the loss?
Well, if it's going to be, it depends on your budget again, because countertops can get expensive. So
Right.
that's one of the things that if it is in good condition, you may want to leave it, depending on your budget. You can replace maybe the fixtures, the faucet fixtures, or even light fixtures that may be really dated. And then whomever's buying may can come in and replace the countertops, because that is rather expensive. But if you have a budget for renovating or updating your house, then that would be a good thing to do. But to keep the money low, then I would say leave that and replace things like faucets. That doesn't cost quite as much.
Okay. I've even seen where on some of these home makeover shows, and my mom just did this. She had a really cute chandelier. It was just classic lines, but it was just a terrible color. It was ugly. And so she actually just spray painted it flat black. It looks like iron, very neutral, and she replaced the globes.
Yeah.
Updated the globes.
Yeah, that's
it was
something simple.
super inexpensive. you can even sometimes get light fixtures if you're on a budget, you can even get light fixtures at a thrift store.
Right.
Spray paint them
Mm-hmm.
and put them in. Matching fixtures, is that kind of an ideal scenario if
That would be
you're replacing?
ideal, yeah. If you have the brushed nickel in one
Mhm.
room, you want the brushed nickel all the way through. Or if you're painting it like that, a lot more creative than I am, but if you're doing something like that, then yes, kind of make it all the way through, consistent all the way through the house. It just makes it flow better when you're walking through. So yeah, that would be nice.
And a light fixture is something you can paint because there's not a lot of traffic on it.
Mhm.
The traffic is on the switch.
Right, right.
So
Exactly.
it's just gonna sit there and you're gonna periodically, hopefully dust it, but
Right,
that's it.
right. And that's another thing, you mentioned the switches.
Mhm.
If you have some plates that you have forgotten to replace, so you took it off for a repair or something like that, and you've forgotten to replace it, by all means, please put it back, because that's one of the things that it takes away from a whole room. When you walk in and you've got face plates for the light switch or for the plug-ins that are missing, so, again, an easy, very inexpensive fix is to make sure that those are all in place.
Right, okay. So what other thoughts do you have? You're selling your house, what else do you do?
Well, you do want to make sure you deep clean it. If you can get that carpet clean, it will give it that new smell, actually, because when people walk into a home, if there's any type of smell, they're gonna notice it, because they've not been in your house again before. So if you are still living there, and some of you probably already heard this about baking the cookies, it makes a difference. I've had sellers before that have actually left a plate of cookies out every time somebody comes in, and it makes a big difference. But yeah, have the carpets clean, get someone to come in and clean for you. That's not a big expense. Get the windows clean. Just really spruce it up, make it smell good, make it look good when they come in, and the cleaning just makes a huge difference.
And speaking of that, you're talking about smells, something that I always notice, and I know my sister is super sensitive to this as well, pet smells.
Right,
You walk into a house and you know if a cat has been in there, use the bathroom one
Right.
time in
Mhm.
all of the time of the home.
Right.
So dealing with that.
Well, if you have pets, then definitely get that carpet clean. If you have a cat litter box in there, then when it's being shown, you are gonna probably wanna move that so that there is no smell around. Make sure that the carpets that you vacuumed, if you haven't cleaned them already, whatever, but, you wanna try and get the pet hair removed and that type of thing. If you are living there and you have a dog, or a cat, you may want to remove them while it's being shown, so that there's no fear of the cat leaving or the dog getting on anybody, but, yeah, definitely have that carpet cleaned though, if you have pets.
In this market, how important is it that the seller has that house available 24/7?
Very, very important, because people are wanting to see all times, they could call anytime. My schedule could be nothing on the calendar today, but by an hour or so, then I've got 6 different appointments. So we never know. You need to be available. You need to be able to give a short notice, because if somebody has to call and say, I don't know, at the 24-hour notice, which some people have to. I mean, I have some sellers that are older and they need an hour or 2 notice. That's understandable. But if there's any way possible for you to just kind of be on call, then especially on the weekends, if you want to go travel somewhere else on the weekends, that's actually the best. Then your house can be shown at any time and at a moment's notice, because you want to get as many viewers in there as possible, and you'll get offers that way.
All right, so talking about offers, how does it work right now? If I'm selling a house
Mhm.
and you come through and put an offer in,
Mm-hmm.
can Mandy still come and view the house, and can she even put an offer in? Because I keep hearing about like bidding wars. How does all that work?
Well, it's going to depend on, we all go back to the seller and their preferences. If somebody comes in and they see the house and they want to make an offer, then the agent, the buyer's agent will go, get all the paperwork together, and you've got that little time period to get all that signed and back to the seller's agent. And then if somebody comes in also, and views the house and also wants to make an offer, then that's what, usually because I'm the seller, I want to get as much as possible with the best terms as possible, then they'll say, yes, you go ahead and make an offer. But now, because there's so many people seeing it, we get these multiple offer situations. So what we have seen is people saying, okay, our agents and the sellers saying, we're going to accept offers up until 5 o'clock Tuesday evening, all offers in writing at this particular time. And so by that time, you need to have your offer in. Cash is king. That's the first thing. If you can at all do that, that will win out. And you want the most amount of money with the least amount of terms for sellers. So, but yes, you can make offers up until they accept one.
Right, so cash is king,
Mm-hmm.
pre-approval, vital, right? If you're a buyer, now we're
Right.
talking to buyers actually, not
Right.
sellers.
Right.
So,
If you are a buyer, then and you are walking in and you're wanting to buy a house and you neither have cash or pre-approval letter, then that puts you behind the curve already. Because as a seller, I want somebody qualified. I don't want to have my house off the market for weeks and then find out you really don't have the cash and you're really not pre-approved and the bank said no. What were you thinking? You can't buy this house. So you need to, first of all, get pre-approved if you are getting a loan. And that way, when you go in with that offer, you say, here, I am pre-approved up to this amount. I can buy this house. And the sellers would say, okay, more likely to say, if this person is pre-approved, then I'm gonna go with that person. I feel more safe.
okay, and then it's one other thing for a buyer, because really, it's very competitive for buyers right now.
Oh, yes, definitely.
My husband's a home inspector.
Oh, I bet he's been busy.
Yes, and one thing that he sees is something that will kill a deal is a buyer who nitpicks everything on the home inspection. He mentioned like the outlet cover not being on. I mean, he'll have people that'll say, I want that replaced. If a seller has 5 offers on the table, what does a buyer need to really consider when they're making that offer and they're making requests?
Well, as a buyer, you have to understand, and sometimes you have to put yourself in the seller's position and say, as a seller, am I going to want to do all of these things? If you have multiple offer situations, you're going to want to put as few things, if any, from that inspection report. If it's not a major safety issue, then you may want to just think about replacing that yourself and not worry about that, because the seller is going to pick an offer that has the most money and the best terms as far as due diligence time period,
Right.
and closing time period, and that type of thing. So you're going to want to just kind of not nitpick that inspection report and only look at it if it's a safety issue.
Right. And one thing too, the inspectors, they have to report everything.
right,
That's
right.
their job. But they're not providing the buyer with a checklist of things
Right,
to reduce the
right,
price with. They're just
right.
saying, these
Yeah.
are things legally I need to let you know.
Well, also as a homeowner, you are purchasing this house, you want to know down the line, okay, this HVAC unit, it may be near the end of its life. It's fine now, but in 5 or 6 years, you may want to replace it. So, it's also good as a homeowner, buying that home, saying, okay, these are things that I need to kind of look at on down the line. And that's what the inspection does. And you're right, it's not a checklist to say, oh, look at all those things that are wrong. But no, they want to make sure you're protected from now while you're purchasing the house and even after you're in that house.
Right.
What things might you have to do to keep it up and keep it in good working condition?
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of great information, Sharon. Just so helpful. And again, you're unique in that you've got your Georgia and your North Carolina license. So a person who's just interested in anywhere in the area, from Brasstown to Warren to Murphy to
Right, Hayesville
and Union, Fannin towns. You can Young Harris, all these areas.
right.
You know them and you can work in them. We're going to put your contact information in the comments as
Okay.
well as You can always go to our chamber website, visit blairsville-georgia.com, and just search Sharon Davis's name, and you'll find her there as well. And remind them again, if you want to throw out your number or how you're best reachable.
Okay, yeah, my cell number is 706-609-9965. I do have a website, and it's just SharonDavisBlairsville.com. So you can also go there. My
Easy.
email address is there, and it's a good way to contact and search for properties.
Perfect. So just thank you for joining us. Share this video. This is a great way for us to promote our members, and we're grateful for, she's got her, I love Blairsville. We're grateful for Sharon. She's also an ambassador for the chamber, so she's championing not only herself, but she works pretty hard to help other new businesses and entrepreneurs in our community that are members of the Chamber of Commerce. So thank you for joining us. Make sure you're following us on Instagram as well. We've got other things that we post there, and you can even find us on Pinterest, on YouTube. We're everywhere where social media is. Go to our website and go to SharonDavisBlairsville.com as well. So thanks for joining us, Blairsville. Thank you, Sharon, so much
Thank
for
you.
being here.
Thank you. Bye.